The dynamics of this world are changing. Our neighbors are no longer just down the street, but they are across the world. We're seeing it's not just the American economy anymore, it's a global economy. It's becoming more about me and less about we. And therein lies the greatest tragedy. We're experiencing a great economic crisis, and it has nothing to do with banks and the stock market. Rather, it has to do with a great disparity in the transfer of wealth across our world. There are 497 billionaires in 2007. They made up almost 10% of the world's GDP at $3.5 trillion of worth. 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. And that is overwhelming. So it's my desire to raise up socially responsible stewards who have a desire to see an impact in their communities, to see change, and to impact people's lives for Christ. 2007, I spent a summer fasting, not just from food, but from television and all these medias, and I just spent time praying and seeking His Word and worshiping and really just on a deep level listening to God. And He started to speak to me about my generation, about our world, and about the opportunities that exist for people to do the small things. And He really encouraged me that small things done with great love can change the world. Laura Kaplan-Thaler actually spoke the other day and said, "Big is so 2008, think small." And I have to say that my encouragement for you, or my encouragement for myself, and my desire lies in that small things do have an impact. Small things do make a difference. And so part of that is my desire to pass that on to other people as well. I'm a marketplace minister first and foremost, and the form in which that takes the shape for me, I founded a program, Ignite, for young professionals, which takes personal finance and combines that with philanthropy. I also have a fee-based practice with Lincoln Financial Advisors, where I specialize and work closely with nonprofits in developing charitable planning strategies. And I also work with some individuals and business owners and managing and building wealth so that they're able to impact this community and communities across the world. Well, I was raised in the church, the same story that a lot of people have. It looks different to each and every individual, but my story is different in that I always heard it, and there was a period of my life where I was really starting to question, what's this all about? And through a series of events in my life, through some miraculous things, and through my uncle who passed away, he, in his life, demonstrated Christ. I never saw him complain about his situation. Well, I'm sure he did in his personal time. He probably is very Job-like, but in front of me, he never complained. And I saw that, and I said, if that God, if there's a God that he's worshiping like that, then I'm missing out on something, because that's not the God that I know. And so I started to dive deep. And the spring of my senior year of high school, right before I went into college, I went to a youth group that I was invited to. A girl who's now a best friend of mine, she'd asked me probably like 60 times to come. And I had said, no, that's not my thing. That's cool. Thanks, though. Well, finally, through my own events, I had time to go, and I went, and the guy that spoke said that the decision to follow Christ is that. He said the walk is a lot harder, because he said the decisions we make either bring us close to God or they take us away from Him, but he said the decision is that. So it was at that point that I decided there's more, that if I'm going to talk the talk, I'm going to walk the walk. And so at that point, my life has been forever changed. And through college, I really started experiencing God in a lot of different ways, and He took me through the ups and the downs, and He molded me into who He's created me to be. And I think the biggest thing for me is through that obedience and through that listening and through the prayer that I've experienced with the Lord, He's really gave me a tremendous understanding, a tremendous passion and desire to serve Him and to see His work done here on earth. It goes back to the summer of 2007. I had mentioned I had spent time, fasting, not just from food, but from entertainment, television, things of that nature. And it was around then that, like I said, the Lord started speaking to me and really divinely inspiring me. And I really started, I made a decision at that point. I was hearing all these things, and they were being confirmed, and people were saying this, and it all started to make sense. And so I decided that, if God's word is true, then I have no choice but to follow it. And that's been a resounding theme since I graduated college to this point in my life, where I just hold on to the word. There's a verse that says, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for He who promised is faithful." And for me, it's a verse like that just makes sense to me, that we put our hope in so many different things. We also tend to rely on ourselves, but I really believe that God wants us to rely on Him. And when we put our hope in Him, He promised the greatness for us. He promised fulfillment for us. He promised a victorious life for us. And He will not let us down, because that's God's character. And so it's holding on to those truths that have really inspired me. And as I've continued to just seek the Lord and to seek His answers and not rely on myself for business matters or personal matters, when I've relied on God, He's delivered. And as I continue to do that, as I continue to learn how to listen to His voice, it becomes something where it's like picking up a cell phone. I don't need to look at the caller ID because I know who it is. And that's really been the most encouraging part of my life, is seeing how He transforms my life and the lives of the people that I come in contact with. Especially since a lot of what I deal with is really building stewardship principles in people's lives. I deal with money. And money is so deeply personal. The Bible actually mentions money directly or indirectly 2,451 times, more than prayer, worship, and all those things combined. And so it obviously means something. And so in that regard, for my purpose is really to ignite people's wealth, ignite their lives, and ignite their world. And if you start at the most personal level, it allows you to really start to really get at a lot of what causes struggle in people's lives. And so that's kind of the first and foremost area where I bring biblically based principles into that realm and encourage people. And I call it the 5 pillars of planning, which I won't get into today, but they're all biblically based principles, and it's all about building a legacy. It's all about leaving a legacy. What are we here for? I really firmly believe that there's one life that we have to impact our one world. And so it's through those talks, it's through those conversations where I can inspire and instill in people that it's not just about your 401k anymore. What really matters is God and His desire for you to live a fulfilled life and for you to see people changed through your life. And that's a lot about where my work is. And so I have an opportunity to really relate to people where it matters most in their lives. Obviously, there's a lot of hurt going on right now because of the way the economy has affected many families. I really have a unique opportunity to really speak life into people, and I had mentioned it's not about a 401k, and honestly, I've gotten those opportunities to say, I understand that it hurts. I understand your 401k went down 40%, but is that really what matters? Is it about that? Is it about just retirement? And I think that's really one of the biggest things that I get to talk to people about. Whether you're 25 or 50, I get to talk to people about what does that retirement look like to you. And so as a result, I have the ability to influence some people. And so I can't necessarily narrow it down to one person, but I know that people have come to me and said, wow, I've never thought about it like that. I never realized that there was more to life. It's almost that creative block that so many people at some point have said, you can't do this. This is how it's supposed to be. And so I've had the ability to come into people's lives and say, no, break down those walls. You have the ability to do what your heart is leading you to do. And so it's through that encouragement that I really have found the greatest impact in my clients. And at work, in my office or with people that are in the same industry, there's a lot of struggles. And for me to be able to be an encouragement that even though I might be struggling, or that even though, my own personal portfolio might be down, I can still encourage other people. And it's by being a light to people that I feel is really the greatest impact. And it's those small things. It's that 60 seconds that you get to meet someone. How are you presenting yourself? And so for me, I smile, I shake hands, I say thank you. People ask, how are you? I'm blessed because I am alive today. And I wake up every morning, and until I don't wake up, that's what I'm living for. And I heard Tony Blair speak the other day that he said that he wakes up every day with the motivation to have a difference. And it comes from the fact that time runs out. And that really changed me. And at almost 25, time still runs out. And what am I doing with my life? Is it really about me, or is it about an impact? And that's really why I am at work on purpose. I am retired. I'm doing something that I feel called to do. I think so many people view retirement as, now I can do what I want to do. And I'm doing what I want to do. And it's because my desires are God's desires. I've shaped my life and my heart and my passion for God, and so He's transformed my heart and my thoughts and my desires, and so I'm living in retirement. I'm doing the things I'm wanting to do. I'm having the difference that I want to make in people's lives right now. So I don't necessarily, there might come a day where I'm no longer the financial guy or something to that effect, but there will be a point where that'll be gone maybe, but I'm still going to be having an impact, and that's what matters to me. The desire that I have, I want to influence the influencers. I don't know all the statistics, but what I do know is that there's going to be in the next 10 years a huge shift of people retiring, of leaving the workforce. And then there's going to need to be a shift into filling those positions. So you're going to see a lot of young people thrust into positions of leadership. And so it's really, really my desire to encourage young people to start now having an impact, to realize that wherever you're at, find the joy in work. Find the joy in impacting people's lives, because wherever you're at, regardless of whether or not it makes sense to you or it feels like it's the best situation, you have an impact. You have the ability to have an impact. And so start now. Don't wait, because time does run out. And at 25, it's hard to think about 65 or 90. But start now. Start today. And I just, the thing that the Lord has been speaking to me so deeply is that this sense of urgency that it's about life and death. It's about impact. It's about what can you do now. It's about reaching people who don't know the love of Christ. And to do that in a way that makes sense to those people. It's to meet them where they're at. It's not about changing who you are or what your belief structure is to meet people. It's about being in their lives, caring about what they care about. And if we can do that as a young generation, we're going to have a profound impact. And I really believe that if our young generation, if the young professionals today can start having an impact today, that tomorrow we're going to be seeing a different world. We're going to be seeing a different corporate culture. We're going to be seeing a different economy. And it's through that I'm really, it drives my passion to want to influence those people. My biggest thing is to meet people where they're at, is to be available, to not be too busy to not say hi, to not be too busy to not be able to take someone into my office and just sit down and say, how's life going? That's where I've found the biggest impact, is that people actually, when they know you're available for them, they've come to me. They've asked me for, hey, I'm dealing with this, I'm struggling with this. And it's because of my availability. So you don't necessarily have to preach the gospel, but if you live it out in your life, if you love people, it'll just happen. And God will open those doors. And when those doors are opened, take full advantage of it. If someone says, hey, I need help, I offer the only help that I know that can be provided. And that's through the message and the good news of Jesus Christ. the reason it's important to have Christ in the workplace, to have Christ in your life, is I believe that it offers the greatest fulfillment. That we have a hole in our heart, that we have something missing, and I know from personal experience, because of the life that I lived before I decided to follow Jesus, that life that left me empty, that left me wanting more. I don't necessarily have the word to describe how that hole got filled, but there's something different. And it's because of that difference, it's because of that joy, it's because of that happiness, it's that kindness, that love that I feel given to me. It's the ultimate relationship. And that never made sense to me before. I didn't realize that there was a relationship element, that somebody actually cared about me. But we have this ultimate father figure. We have this ultimate love that has been given to us. And for me, it means so much, and to experience that, and to experience it's one of those times where it's my heart, and you just want to rip out your heart and say, here it is. Don't you understand it? Like, doesn't it make sense? And I mean, that's just how I feel. And so for me, it's not about rules or regulations. It's not about anything other than love God, love people, and that unconditional love just resonates through my body in a way that just makes me want to love other people. And so I want to encourage you that whether you're struggling with this or that all those are temporary. All those fill a temporary need, but this love that Christ gives us, it's forever. And we put our hope in so many other things to come to our aid. But nothing has ever met that for me. Nothing came to my aid. I sought all these other things to help fill me, but nothing did. And the only thing that ever did, the only thing that ever answered was God. And so for me, because of those experiences, I have no choice but to say, Uncle, I give in, I give up. It's all you, it's about you. And I want to encourage you to make that too, to have that decision, to have the life that I have. Because it is a life of fulfillment, and a life that is defined by unconditional love. So will you take that with me? Will you join me in this walk? Will you join me in this relationship? I want to walk this life out with you. I want to share that love with you. Will you join me? It doesn't matter what title, occupation, or income you have. What matters is that God is honored and that we are at work on purpose.